there is a Cartesian coordinate system in which we can very easily plot x and y coordinates. Okay. Now, plotting this x and y coordinate is a different game, and then analyzing it is a different thing. So in vectors, we saw that if I draw a line joining through origin, so this is called as directed line segment. So that directed line segment, directed means it is having a certain direction, which is measured with an angle, and line segment means it will be of fixed length. So that's why for a vector, we always said that it will have some magnitude and direction. Okay, now same thing is replicated for complex numbers. Complex numbers, the whole theory have been started by the fact that square root of negative numbers are not defined. So whenever we have square root of negative numbers, till now we were just writing it as not defined. But in the chapter complex number, we can also write it down as root a times root of -1. And this root of -1, they have started calling it as I. I is a Greek symbol whose full name is iota. Okay. And it is a representative of the complex or the imaginary term. Okay. Imaginary term is this. Why we call it as imaginary term? Because square root of negative number is actually not defined. But just to make it theoretically defined, we have started calling it as iota, and we have created the whole new theory on this. That is what we will do in complex number. So in complex number, your Cartesian plane will be replaced by Argand plane. Okay. And that Argand plane contains real and imaginary axis. Okay, real is same as x, imaginary is same as y. Imaginary will contain all the terms which have iota along with them as a coefficient, and real will have all the terms which are just like the numbers what we see till now. So that's why a complex number represented by z is written as x plus iota y. Okay, where x is the real term and y is the imaginary term. It is same as vectors. Okay, a vector is nothing but a coordinate. Similarly, a complex number is nothing but a coordinate, x comma y. But this x comma y is plotted not on a Cartesian plane, it is plotted on an Argand plane. Name of this plane is Argand plane. Okay, it is just a name. So now when x comma y is plotted on Argand plane, we can observe that it will have a certain length. Like if we draw a line through origin, it will have a certain length and it will be at a certain angle. It will be inclined at a certain angle. So this length is called as modulus of a complex number. Okay, which is denoted by mod of z, which will be written as x square plus y square. Okay, it is same as the way we used to write magnitude of a vector. Okay, it's not different. Always keep in mind concept of vectors, whatever we have done in physics, and try to replicate the same in complex numbers, so it will not seem like a new topic. Names may be different, but conceptually we are doing same thing only. Next thing is this theta over there, it was called as direction. Here we call it as amplitude. Once again, it is just a name. This amplitude has no connection with amplitude of wave. So please don't mix it up. It's just the same name, but they have different meaning. So amplitude of a complex number is just an angle at which this coordinate is inclined with respect to the real axis. That is the x-axis. So if I want to find theta, then it will be tan inverse of y by x. Same formula what we use in vectors. Okay, so this is the basics of complex number you should know. The remaining whatever concepts will be there that we will cover directly using questions. Okay. So till here.
Sir, why isn't I there in the mod of Z?
Okay, the reason for that is over there we are just talking about the length. Okay, and length is written the same way we used to write magnitude of like magnitude of a line using that Pythagoras theorem. So iota is just a representative which tells us about that y is a point from imaginary axis. It has nothing to do with the value of a complex number. Okay, value means the modulus of a complex number. Okay, so even if you put I over here, let's say if you put I over here, then it will become I square, and I square will be -1, and -1 square will change the whole meaning. So that's why don't ever even try that. Okay, you have to take it like a fact that here we are just writing down the value, and value is same as the hypotenuse of this triangle, which is having x and y as two sides. So it has nothing to do with I. And when we are writing this I, so I is just what? It's a representative, which tells us that this is the imaginary term. Okay. Typical theoretical topic. So relatively, it has very less sense. Okay. We cannot go into logic in this. Okay. We can further do powers of I, starting with I is equal to square root of -1. What can be the value of I square?
-1.
I square will be -1. Then if we do I cube,
So cube root of -1.
okay. But I cube can also be written as I square times iota.
Yeah.
Okay. And I square is -1. So we can write it down as -I. Okay. Like in the simplified form. And then I to the power 4 will be how much?
1.
Use the previous value. So you can use I square. I square times I square will be I to the power 4. So -1 square will be 1. So these are the powers of I, which is generally used in questions. And this is also giving us one pattern that when we move ahead, I to the power 5, it will be once again, it will become I to the power 4 and I. So that will be same as I only. So the whole system of I repeat its value after every 4. Like I square, I cube, I to the power 4 are unique. I to the power 5 is same as I. I to the power 6 will be same as I square, and so on. So like that, using this logic, if we want to find I to the power 1769, okay, this is a random number. So how do we write the value of this? And without calculating.
Sorry, so I kind of slipped my mind. So
You were sleeping?
no, sir, it slipped my mind. I woke up like not too long ago as well, though. I woke up, I think, like 10:45 maybe, but I forgot about it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Just go through the initial section of this. Like I have recorded the lecture, so go to the initial recording. Okay.
So if we're doing complex numbers, like we don't have that because
You
I'm
don't
doing
have complex numbers?
no, sir, we don't have complex numbers for SL, I think.
Just hold on. Yes. So this
Yeah.
class is an optional for you.
So I think you told me this last time, but I was unsure if it was because
It is even not given in like that. Save my exams also it is not given. Okay, so as of now we can assume that yeah, it is not there.
okay.
Okay. So then this class becomes optional for you.
Yes.
If you want to be there, you can. Okay, you will learn something new. Or
Yeah, so knowledge is knowledge, so I'll stay. It's fine.
Look, maths is moreover like it works as a brain exercise. Okay, it opens your brain.
Yeah.
Understand all the things which is there around us. Okay. I'm just talking about application of maths beyond getting marks. So yeah. Okay, 1769. Anyone have broken down into some powers? We have to do that only. Whenever we deal with any higher power of x also, so we have to break it down. So I'll ask particularly Rishon and Raghav. You might have done these type of questions before. How do we do such questions?
So
Raghav,
maybe complex numbers, we haven't done questions like this that much. It's like the other type of questions, but
okay. Rishon?
Sir, we have done this, but like they don't usually ask it, so like I don't remember how to do it.
Okay, very fair enough. So such questions will never be asked directly for sure. But yeah, in any big question, it can be used as a small part. Okay. So, okay. We should know that I is square root of -1. I square is -1. I cube is minus iota. And I to the power 4 is 1. Now we have to convert this 1769 into some power of 4 plus something. So just work on 1769 and break it down into the nearest multiple of 4. What will be that number? You can use calculator for that. If we divide it by 4, so it will be 4, then 4, then 2. 1 is left. It means 1768 is the nearest multiple of 4. And how many times? 442 times. So it will be written as 1768 plus 1, which can also be written as I to the power 4 to the power 442 times I to the power 1. Look at this term and try to understand that how it is being written. We are using simple indices. Okay, indices is being done in lower grades for all of you. So just try to recall those things. I to the power 4 will be 1, 1 to any power will be 1 only. So we are left with I. So the final value for I to the power 1769 will be I. Okay, just to make sure whether you are clear with this method or not, I'll give you one more similar question.
So why did you divide by 4?
Because I to the power 4 is 1.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so 1 is easy to handle. 1 to any
Yeah.
power will be 1. So that's why we'll try to get everything in the form of I to the power 4. Maximum as
Oh.
much as we can.
Okay, sir.
Like let's say if I take 2024, okay? 2023 I'll take. 2024 is easy to handle. Just try to write 2023, the value of I to the power 2023.
So it will be I to the power 4 in brackets and 505 to the
Sir,
power
is it
5.
negative I?
Negative I? What did you say, Rishon? Say again.
Sir, is it negative I?
It will be negative I. Okay, how it will be negative I? Let us understand. So I to the power 2023 can be broken down into I to the power 2020 and I cube. Okay, 2020 plus 3, which can be written like this. 2020 is the multiple of 4. How many times? 505. I to the power 4 to the power 505. And I cube will be written as negative I from above. I to the power 4 to any power will be 1. So the final answer will be negative I.
Sir, I don't think it like matters like how many times it is a multiple, because like no matter how many times it's a multiple,
Yeah.
it's just going to be 1.
It will be 1, but as far as it is just a matter of solving. You can definitely ignore this number. But let's say if any of the question we have to show the steps, then you have to write it. Okay. So for just getting a value, we can definitely ignore it. So minus I will be the answer. Okay. Try to do the same for few more powers. Okay. Because one or two question will make it more clear. Right now, we are moving on to this question. Let us first try to analyze that what is given as a complex number. Okay, firstly, the complex numbers are written as x plus iota y. So you should not treat them anything more than just 2 comma 2 and 2 comma 2 root 3. This interpretation is very important, then only your work will be easier. Now what they are saying, sketch on the Argand diagram. Argand diagram is this graph which contains real and imaginary axis, and be sure to include the appropriate scale. Okay, so what can be the scale? We can take 1 unit because I think our work will be done with that. So we have to just plot these points. Okay, but just plotting the point will not do. It is a bit like a fancy thing. So you have to show it properly. So when we are doing 2 comma 2, so 2 comma 2 will be over here. We have to write this as Z1, and another one is 2 comma 2 root 3. 2 root 3 will be approximately 3.5. So 2 comma, it will be over here. Okay, so that's what we have to do in this question. Okay, along with this, I'll teach you a few more things. Like when we go to algebra of a complex number, so we usually do sum, difference, then we do product and division. These are the 4 things which we usually do for algebra. We'll do all 4 things using the same example just for practice. It is not a part of this question, but just for the sake of understanding, we are doing it. So when we are adding 2 complex numbers, you will always add real with real and imaginary with imaginary. Same thing goes for subtraction. So addition and subtraction are kind of similar. When we do Z1 plus Z2, it will be 2 plus 2, that is 4, and 2 plus 2 root 3 iota will be the imaginary term. And same thing goes for when I do Z1 minus Z2. So I will do 2 minus 2, that is 0, plus 2 minus 2 root 3 iota. Just look at the terms and see to it whether it is clear or not. Okay. There is one more interesting observation over here, that whenever in a complex number, we get real part as 0. We call that complex number as purely imaginary. Purely imaginary. Purely imaginary means it contains only imaginary term. It do not contain any real term. Sum and difference of 2 complex number is also a complex number. First one is a regular one, and the second one is purely imaginary because real part is 0. So in sum and difference, if there is any question to anyone, like with anyone, please ask. These questions need not to be necessarily only about the example what we are doing. In general, if there's anything out of curiosity, you can ask. Okay, so if this part is clear, then we can move on with the product. Product of complex number is same as multiplying 2 brackets. Okay, you have to follow the same logic, but when you are multiplying each and every term, there will be few I square terms created. So that we have to handle properly. Let us see the multiplication. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 root 3 will be 4 root 3 iota. 2 times 2 with iota will be 4 iota. And 2 times 2 root 3 will be 4 root 3 I square. Now I square is equal to -1. So whenever we get I square, we need to replace that by -1. So I will replace it by -1 and then I will take it along with 4 because 4 and 4 root 3 will be real terms. So it will be 4. Okay, let me do that in the next step. 4 plus 4 root 3 plus 4 iota minus 4 root 3. That minus is because of I square value. I square is equal to -1. 4 root 3 will go along with 4. So 4 minus 4 root 3 written together, they are real terms. And 4 plus 4 root 3 written together, they are imaginary terms. So this is the value of product of complex numbers. It is a very fundamental thing. Okay, we have to just multiply two brackets. How do we do that? That we have learned in lower grades. Only thing which you have to take care is this I square. I square will be -1. So later on, I square will be replaced by -1 and you'll get this. Now, before moving on to another example from before moving on to the quotient, the division of two complex number, we'll take one more example and I want you guys to find the product. So I have a complex number 2 minus iota and 3 plus 5 iota. And I want all of you to find the product.
6 plus 10i
6 plus 10i, then
minus 3i minus 15i square.
minus 5i square, 5, because it is
Oh,
minus
yeah.
1 iota times 5 iota. Yeah, so what was wrong in that? You only told me, look. So why you were confused?
I didn't know if we have to change the value of I to something else.
Okay,
Or we
you
just have
have
to use
to
it like
change
that.
the value of I square when it is created, not I. Till now, there is no change in value. But now this I square is created, so it will be replaced by -1. So now I
Okay.
have 6 plus 10 minus 3 will be 7 iota and it will be plus 5. 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 plus 7 iota. Okay. Anyone
I
of
need to revise this concept, I guess, because I got it confused with something.
what?
So isn't it there some formula that, okay, if it's like multiply, right? The real values, you just multiply them versus the other one, you add up the imaginary values.
You multiply the real values and you add up the imaginary values.
Yeah.
No, there's no formula like that.
Okay, so yeah.
But did you understand what I did just before?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
Then you have to just replicate the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll take one more example. Okay, and one thing I want to tell you all that if you are opting for if you'll opt for any of the technical degrees in future, so complex number will be there in your university syllabus also. Okay, so please keep that in mind that this is not a chapter which you have to just do it now. So it should be good. And this is very theoretical, so it is not that difficult. It is just a matter of understanding these things. These are a bit new things for us initially. So it takes some time, but it is not difficult. Okay. We will do one more question. Okay, we are not going to do this as of now. So I'll give you one question. -2 plus 3 iota and 4 minus 7 iota. Just use your simple understanding about how to multiply two brackets and do it. Okay, there is nothing different in this. And in the end, when you get I square, so I square will be replaced by -1. There is no other I which we have to replace, only I square. So try it out. minus sign carefully. Okay, over there only we tend to make mistakes. Minus 2 times 4 will be minus 8. Minus 2 times minus 7 will be plus 14 iota. Then 3 times 4 will be 12. Iota is also there. And 3 sevens are 21. So minus 21 I square. This is the first step. Then I square will be minus 1. So this term will be plus 21. Plus 21 minus 8 will be 13. And 14 plus 12 will be 26. So 13 plus 26 iota. Now let's say if we have to find mod of this, like mod of Z1 and Z2 is also a complex number, like product of Z1 and Z2 is also a complex number. Okay, it is some complex number only. So if I want to find mod of Z1 and Z2, we have to just take it same as modulus of or magnitude of a vector, which will be equal to 13 square plus 26 square. Modulus of a complex number is same as x square plus y square, where the complex number is x plus iota y. So this you can do using calculator also, and you can write the answer.
Sir, this still makes no sense to me. Like, sir, like I really want to know why there isn't like
I
the
square
I.
I is not there. Why I is not there? Okay. So let us understand Argand plane in bit detail. Okay, what is the meaning of Argand plane? Argand plane represent real axis and imaginary axis. Okay, imaginary axis is same as y, real axis is same as x. Whatever number you want to show that it is on imaginary axis, it is written along with iota. Okay, I repeat again, whatever number you want to show on imaginary axis, it is written along with iota. So what is the meaning of iota? What is the significance of iota? To be very frank, what is the significance of iota? Let's say, now you all are boys, no? So I'll give you one example. Let's say you are associated with a girl and her name is quite spoiled in the market, okay, or in the school. Market will be big, big name, okay, in the school, okay, that she is dash, 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 whatever you can think, you think, okay. It depends on your imagination. So if her name is already spoiled and now that girl's name is taken along with you, so what will happen to you? Your
Your name will
name
get
will also
spoiled.
be spoiled. Okay, it is a very clear cut thing, na? That your name will also be spoiled because of her. Okay, the same thing happens when you as a child do something which is bit embarrassing for your parents. Like now you guys are quite grown up, okay, so you might not be doing, but you can see small kids when the parents take them for shopping. There are various tantrums which I observe small kids they do when they are out, if they are eating something or if they are in some mall. Okay, so it is always an embarrassing thing for a parent. Okay, from a general spectator perspective, what will be your thought behind that? When a child is doing something, what will you do? You will directly or indirectly say na, that, oh, what kind of parents is this? They are not even telling their child to stop, not to do all these things, not to create nuisance. Okay. Are you understanding? If some, like, let's say if a very small baby, not a small baby, 2-3 year kid is at your home, and when he came to your home, he will start painting on the walls and he will start dismantling the things whichever is there in your house. Now you will not be able to say much of the things, and you will see that parent is also not saying anything. The first thing what you will do is you will blame parent only, na? That being a parent, what are you teaching to your kid? Are you understanding? So
Yes.
now over here, using all these examples, you have to understand that along with a number, let's say number is y, or let's say number is 5. Okay, I'll take real number only so that you will understand better. Along with a number, when I'm putting iota, it doesn't mean that its value is 5 iota. Iota is just making sure that now this term is an imaginary term. That's it. But the value of this imaginary term is how much? It is still 5. Your child will be your child only, whether he is good or bad, whatever. Good and bad are all adjectives, na, which is adding a value. Okay. But that will not change your child. It will be same only. Okay. So the same thing happens over here. When we are writing x plus iota y is a number only. And on Argand plane, we are just plotting the numbers. We are not plotting iota on that. So that's why when we are writing the modulus, so in modulus, we will be just writing the length, because modulus is a concept which has been obtained after plotting this. That if you are plotting a point over here, then how much far it is from the origin. So that is the modulus. So it has nothing to do with I in the formula. Okay, so hopefully, Ishan, now you might have understood that when we are writing mod Z strictly talks about x and y values only. It has nothing to do with iota. Ishan, still, if you have any question, you can definitely ask.
Sir, it's clear now.
Okay. Anyone
So
else
also
have
those
any
bracket
question?
signs, that's what they stand for, right? Modulus. Like that is what the symbol for modulus, like the whole.
These bars are for modulus.
So because I never got confused, because in my mind I always thought, okay, so a complex number is x plus yi, and modulus is just x squared plus y squared. So I just thought you had to plug it in. So I never got confused with this.
Okay.
But this does make sense here.
Yeah, actually, his question was he was not able to accept this as a formula. So the question was in the formula, that why we are writing like this. Okay. Okay. Next thing is, whenever we are writing anything inside the bars, it means we are talking about the absolute value. The name of absolute value is changing from physics to maths. In physics, we were calling it as magnitude. Magnitude is also the absolute value only, and here we are calling it as modulus. But meaning is same. Okay. Now, in the next question, what we were doing over there, they were asking us argument. Okay. Now, I told you that theta is an amplitude. There is one more name for this, which is argument. Okay. We will use the name which is there in your book in these worksheets. Okay. So that you may not get any extra confusion. So argument is same as angle. Okay. Please don't go with the name. Understand that what is it. Okay. Names are kept by some people only. As per their understanding, they have kept the names. So we were on to this question where it is. Modulus of Z1 and Z2, right now it's fine. No need to do that. Okay. Let us just try to learn that what are the things involved. Then these questions can be solved very easily. Find the argument of Z1 and Z2. Now, as per that question, Z1 was 2 plus 2 iota. Now, what is the meaning of argument? Let us understand. If I plot this 2 plus 2 iota on the Argand plane, I will get 2 comma 2. Okay, if 2 comma 2 is plotted and the angle is measured, how will you measure the angle? In vectors also we have done that tan theta is equal to y over x. Y is 2, x is also 2. So theta will be equal to tan inverse of 1. 2 over 2 is 1. So that is how you will get the argument as pi by 4. Okay, that you can do using calculator. So if this method for argument which is same as vectors. If that is okay, then try to find the argument for 2 plus root 3 iota.
Sir, when using tan inverse, it's just y by x, right? No, not negative y by x. Because somewhere I'd seen that it was negative y by x.
No, it is not negative y by x. Wherever you have seen, just try to check that resource again. You'll find that for argument, it is not negative y by x. Okay, I'll tell you that how we have to deal with the angles of other quadrants. Maybe you are mixing that with this. Okay, generally using trigonometry, we write down the angles from 0 to 2 pi. But over here, for complex numbers, we write down the angles like this, from 0 to pi. And if it is exceeding, then we will move from 0 to negative pi. So that's why the value of theta always lies between minus pi to pi. Okay, this is also a factual thing. In all, we have to just make sure that we are covering all 4 quadrants, because when we are plotting the points, these are the maximum possibilities. Okay, but there is never a negative sign in the formula. Okay, so just check that thing again. Over there, if there is negative written, you can send it to me. It might be with respect to something else. Okay, find for Z2. Anyone have done it? Okay, is there any doubt in understanding tan theta is equal to y by x? Let's start with Madison. Madison, did you understand why tan theta is equal to y by x is written?
Not fully, sir.
Okay, how do we find the angle in a vector? Do you know that?
So in a vector, like we use the like a sine theta, a cos theta, right? And then we find it.
For finding the angle in a vector, look at this diagram. You can look at any of the diagram. Okay, they are same only.
Yes, sir.
This is y and this is x. Okay, just look at a triangle. In the triangle, if we want to find the angle, y and x are given to us, then we can use tan theta. Tan theta is opposite over adjacent. So that's why the value of theta will be tan inverse of y by x, and that is what we are applying in the question. Okay, Dishon and
Yes, sir.
Raghav,
Yes, sir.
is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
What is the value for angle?
Sir, is it a decimal value?
You have to write in terms of pi. Okay, got it. Okay, you can write it down in terms of decimal. It's okay. It
Sir, I'm
will
getting it as 40.8.
divided by 2. 40.8, but then answer should be in terms of pi, like in radians. So you can multiply that by pi by 180. So the value of theta is coming out as 0.713 for that. Okay, 40.8, when you will convert it into radians, it will be 0.713. So I will now sum up what all things we have done in complex numbers so far. Okay, whatever questions we have seen, whatever examples we have seen, that we'll do again on Monday. Okay, similar things will be done on Monday. This will be our reference to cover up all the things, all the topics. So whatever you know, whatever you can try, definitely give it a try from the worksheet. But let me just sum it up what we have done. So in general, a complex number is written as x plus iota y. Okay, it is nothing but a coordinate on the Argand plane. Argand plane is having real and imaginary axis. So since it is just a coordinate, so it will be at a certain distance from the origin. That distance can be calculated using this, and that distance is called as modulus. Then this line is also making a certain angle. That angle in this chapter is called as argument, and that can be written as tan theta, tan inverse of y by x. Then we discussed about the powers of I. So it all starts with I is equal to this, then I square minus 1, I cube minus iota, and I to the power 4 is 1. From where the concept of complex number came into existence. So I didn't told that in the beginning, but I'll tell you now. It was from the negative square root, and negative square root we saw for the first time in quadratic equations. So that's why in a quadratic equation, when b square minus 4ac is negative, then that will give us complex roots. How to find those complex roots, that we'll see in the next lecture. Okay, but this was the topic which was there in lower grades, but we used to leave it over there only, saying that it will be negative, like it will be imaginary roots. But now we can find those imaginary roots using all iota notations. Okay, how to find that, that we'll see in the next lecture. So till here, whatever we have done, just try to revise.